Hello, welcome to tonight's live stream. We're going to get back into Starbound, so do a survival mode checklist and see if we can kind of do some of the research for a future. Alright, so the last time we did a live stream, we actually created a new character. Called him Discord Widdister in honor of Widdister. So I think we'll go ahead and continue with that character and kind of do some of our research. That way we don't have to make a character and go through the intro mission again. Being attacked. Alright, so we're going to pop back up to the ship. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of make the assumption we have just gotten through the starter mission and we have found our starter world and we've got to work our way down. So what do we have? We start with our 4 cans of food. We start with our flashlight, we start with some torches, and we're going to kind of go through a checklist of getting our food up and running first. You know what, just to make this interesting, let's jump out here. We will start a new character here. That way it's authentic. Good evening, Widdister. Alright, since Widdister's the first one in the chat, we'll let him pick the race. So, do you want to be human, avian, apex, Lauren, Lotl, glitch, or Nova Kid? Florian it is. Okay, well I like the orange hair. We can stick with the orange hair. Let's see. It doesn't really matter since we're probably going to end up replacing it anyway. Match our hair color? I don't think we'll go with orange. I like the orange shirt. Alright, all orange matches our hair. Alright. Blue's a good complementary color to orange. Go with blue and orange. Turn off my team friends list real quick. Don't have to watch that. Okay, we got our wonderful Florian character here, nice and orange. Find ourselves, ooh, Layla, like that. We're gonna go with survival. We'll do the starter mission real quick, but we'll just blow through it really. That looks good. Let's go with this. So in the last live stream we went through all of the kind of hidden stuff that you can find inside of the tutorial mission and some tips and tricks and why the developers do what they do. In this one we are just going to speed run through it as fast as we can. So. we're not going to spend a lot of time looking at anything. We're going to get on with the program here. Alright, so we need to grab our uniform. As we are going to graduation, we should probably look the part, so we'll throw that on. Not going to do the information stuff. We will grab the hidden items and things, that way we are ready to go. Alright, so what is the goals of tonight's live stream? One of the videos that I'd like to make is a checklist for survival mode, just kind of a guide on how to get going. And so I started to make a list of what are some of the most important things that happen. What are the most important things that you need? As soon as graduation gets over here, we will talk through that. Get to see the dramatic destruction of Earth yet again. If you have played Starbound and don't skip this mission, you've probably seen this quite a few times. Get our great... I'm in the audience, so I don't talk too loud. Alright, things just went bad. This really does appear to give Octopus a really bad name. Alright. So time to move forward. Again, we are going to work our way through this as fast as we can. We're not really going to explore or anything like that. If you would like to see a complete walkthrough of the tutorial area, I will link up in the cards up above there on the right hand side. I'll link us to the first live stream that we did, where I spent a lot of time going through everything that's kind of going on here. It's a good starter video if you've never played Starbound before. And into space we will go. Kind of cool to get a different ship. If you haven't played Starbound, all the races have a unique looking ship, so it's kind of a reason to play through it as different races. Alright, and same thing here, we're not going to spend a lot of time going through what's actually taking place here. We are going to spend a little bit of time reorganizing our toolbar though. Alright, so for survival mode playthrough, I've identified a number of things that I care about. One is food. Food's probably one of your most important things, so that's what we're going to concentrate on trying to get going first. So what do you have for food? Start you off with 4 cans of food. I have a mod installed that tells me how much food that is. That's 50. Your food bar, your hunger bar up here is 100 points of food. Your food bar will completely deplete within 20 minutes. If you do the math, that means 12 seconds per point of food. If you look at your 4 cans of food, that means you have the original 20 minutes, then you've got these 2 cans will give you 20 more minutes, and these 2 cans will give you 20 more minutes. So if you don't die and your hunger drops at a normal rate, you've got about an hour to make sure that you've got food supply. It's really enough time. You're not up against anything that's like crazy amounts of worrisome here, but if you don't deal with it, then it is one of those things that because if you get hungry, you die. Second thing for survival mode is making sure you have healing abilities, so that's definitely good to have as well. So let's go ahead and get down to the planet and start this little adventure. Now, one thing that's interesting about Starbound is in order to build things, you often need a series of different items. So for farming, we need to create a hoe and a watering can. To do that, we're going to have to actually create 4 different workstations, right? If we start going through that, the workstations take a lot of timber and logs, some cobblestone, some mud, and some plant fiber. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this as our starting location. This is where we kind of fall in. We got pretty lucky here. This is mud and this is cobblestone, so we've got a couple of these right away. We've got some rice here. Alright, we're going to flatten out an area here. This way we can kind of know where we started. And what I'm going to do here is, like I showed in the last video, I'm going to create myself a marker so that I know where I have started and what a full lap is. So make a nice unnatural form here. So that is not something you would normally see naturally occurring, so that should give us a nice indication. Make it look like it's on a pedestal. Or just floating, I guess. Okay. So like we talked about last time, different people like to go different ways, but one of the first thing we're going to do, chop down some of our wood here. I'm going to face this direction so all my trees fall in the same direction. Because we need a lot of wood. So we need 12, 22, 62 timber, and 8 logs. It's not too horrible. Okay, so based off of our starting food, my goal is going to be to get through one circuit of the planet. I want to go all the way around the planet, collect as much things as I can. So I want to collect seeds for my plants. I want to collect some ore. I want to collect some cobblestone. I want to collect some mud. And just kind of get all of my materials ready so I can build myself a base of operations. And we're going to try to do this without dying. Okay, so one of the things we didn't really talk about last time was the trees. So I'm kind of thinking this little plain up here doesn't look to be a horrible spot, right? I kind of fall in right here. If I put some stuff here, I can actually create my little homestead, get myself some farming in. It's nice that we have a rainy planet. One of the things you need for farming is a watering can if it's not raining, because your ground has to get wet for your seeds to grow. So we're just going to level this section off here. Now, depending on how much of a aesthetic completionism gamer you are versus somebody who just wants to get the stuff done, you can leave the background, you can clean up the background. It's kind of up to you. We're going to go ahead and, since we do need these materials anyway, we're going to clean up the background, at least in this area. Okay, one of the other things that I think is pretty important to a survival or to any Starbound game is light. Now eventually you're going to get backpacks and different utilities that will help you with the light, but when you're first starting out, it can be very, very dark. And you kind of have to rely on things like flashlights and torches and things like that. So some more important things in order to survive your crafting is to be able to build torches. If you look here, torches take coal. We have plenty of wood, but we need coal. That's another item that we'll want to harvest early on. As we get farther in, we're also going to need some copper bars. So as we explore, we are going to collect copper as well. Okay. So I'm thinking here's a nice spot for a little farm. One of the things we want to look at though is if we go into our inventory here, you're going to notice as we cut down the trees, we got these saplings. If you're ever worried about wood, you can actually plant these saplings to get you more trees. So we come over here, grab this sapling, maybe you have to hoe the dirt as well. Oh, there we go. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to plop these saplings down because they will grow us more trees. Alright, so we got those going. We'll pop over here. Some more trees going. Now wood really isn't going to be an issue as we get farther in. If I remember right, if you put them really close together like this, it'll stunt the growth of the trees, so we'll test that. Plop a whole bunch of them in here. Alright, let's go right. Okay, so on our list we've got food, we've got light, and we've got health. We can build ourselves some solve medicine here based off of just plant fiber. So plant fiber is definitely one of those things that we're going to want to collect as we go as well. Wow, how fortunate. So this is a little camp which will help us get some items. For right now we are going to stay on the surface, so we are not going to go diving deep into here. But we will take a look and see what's in these chests on the surface, because we might find something useful. Okay, we are going to take a campfire. That's useful. And we'll take a tent, just in case we want to sleep. And we will loot poor guy's boxes. Alright, we got ourselves a weapon. That can be useful. Ah, some healing stuff. That's always good. Alright, so I backed into here to force him to come down to my level. That could be useful as well. Alright, anytime we get a weapon, we're going to want to check out to see what that weapon is. In this case, it is a hammer. So if I look at my weapon here, it is a 7.5 DPS weapon. Damage per swing is 6. And if I look at this weapon, it is a 12.9 DPS with a damage per swing of 14.7. So let's equip that. Now, different weapons are used differently. And notice that this one has a slower ramp up. So on this one, you have to kind of plan your attacks. And a lot of people don't like that. So you have to decide kind of what kind of weapon you want to use. So this is convenient here. We've got some surface copper. So we're going to go ahead and mine that out. Our goal here is not to go too terribly deep. The deeper you go, the more dangerous it gets. Alright. That did 15 damage per swing. Alright, just to kind of test, go ahead and make it so we can switch. We'll see what our sword does. Alright, got some coal here. We definitely need some coal. So we're going to grab that as well. Alright, if we look up in the upper left hand corner of our interface, you'll notice that our food is starting to get low. That's something we should keep an eye on. Now there's two ways we can do this. We could just eat enough to keep ourselves from getting dead. Or if we time it right, we could eat some of our food so that we actually get the healing buff. We are going to need some mud, so while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and clean out some of that mud. Alright. Again, our goal here is to get one lap in. We're going to try to keep working our way around the world here. Nice steep cliff here. Work our way up this. You can carve your way through, but that can take some time, especially when you start with this matter manipulator. There's two upgrades for the matter manipulator. You can increase how many blocks it does damage to and how fast it damages them. That can make it far more useful. But for now, we will just have to deal with what we have. If we can just get him to drop down. Nope. That was closer than I wanted it to be. Alright, but he's out of range now, so we won't worry about him. Okay. We got a couple conveniently placed caves here. Anytime I can find a spot that I can go into that doesn't require me to do all this manual digging, I'll go ahead and do that. The thing you gotta be careful of is that cave is dark. So we want to make sure that nothing's gonna attack us. Also, it looks like this cave can get us through a good chunk of this mountain. But while we're in here, we're gonna go ahead and collect the vines, which will actually give us what we need from the standpoint of plant fiber. I'm going to go ahead and put some light in here just so I can see what I'm doing. I can attach my torches to the wall. That way I'm not working in the dark. We can make more torches now that we have found coal. So if you look here, I can create torches. I create 4 torches for 1 coal and 1 wood. So torches really aren't that hard to make. The nice part about that is you can have hundreds and hundreds of torches. So I just usually leave them. I'm not going to worry about coming back and picking them up or moving them out of my world. Collect what we can here. Now that we have some plant fiber, we'll work our way back to the surface. Surface is where we want to spend most of our time because that's where we're going to get the seeds and stuff that we need for creating our farm. Kind of do a diagonal cut up this way. Like we found another little cave here. Don't really want to go down there, so I think we'll cut up this way. Other thing that you can always kind of look for, so you'll notice that looks like we're cutting into some more cobblestone. Based off the needs I know I'm going to have, grabbing some cobblestone is not a bad idea. I need that to make a furnace. So we'll kind of pick up some cobblestone and some dirt. Alright, so I am hungry. Now you have a decision to make. We can wait this out a little bit. I can waste a little food where I could eat 2 cans of food that I have stored up here, right? Which would get me back to full. The full is going to give me a health benefit. Or I could eat some of the food that I have found. One thing that we remember from the first live stream video is we can cook our food. So let's go ahead and do that. So we can bake some potatoes. That sounds great. Boil some rice. Awesome. Cook a chicken. Anything else? Nope. So for right now, I'm going to go with the idea of just eating the food that I've prepared. So go ahead and eat the chicken, potato. Here's our boiled rice. And we're going to kind of keep this as our emergency rations, right? This will fill up half my food bar if I get really stuck, and it will allow me to do what I need to do. Cooking ingredient. That's a seed. That's a seed. And that's a seed. So the seeds are what we're really looking to get. Alright, while we're up here and relatively safe, we'll do a little bit of crafting. So now that we've got 150 plant fiber, we're going to go ahead and craft 10 of these. What this will allow us to do is heal ourselves when we need to. Now, if we build ourselves all at full on food, we would auto heal, but for now, we're just going to go with this. We're feeling adventurous. We're feeling brave. Let's switch these weapons around because I think I like the sword more than the hammer as a personal playstyle, but let's look at the damage. So you notice that one, each hit is smaller, but I can hit so many more times that I think a lot of times that's better. Also depends on how much knockback they have. Ooh, I didn't see him hiding. I getting to pop back out. There we go. Alright, so fighting in places like this, you want to be careful. Now remember from last time we discovered that you can look around with your control key. Always a good idea to kind of look before you just fall off a cliff because you don't necessarily know how far down it is. Another thing you can do is if you hold the shift key, you'll walk smaller. Now, because I am a new character, I don't have a ton of health. A drop like that makes me a little bit nervous. So I'm just gonna drop down like this. What this will allow me to do is not fall as far, give myself a little bit more control. Alright. Kill these guys off. And we'll grab some more plant fiber over here. See some copper up there. Okay. So what's partially fun about Starbound, or what I find fun, is every world is kind of randomly generated. You don't really know what you're going to get. So the exploration factor on a lot of this can be a lot of fun. We're going to grab this plant fiber and then I think we'll head out. Now, depending on how cautious you want to be, you could actually, at this point, sleep in your tent and make it so things are a little bit safer. We're just going to move forward here. Since we're going to build ourselves a little house, let's grab that chair. That way we don't have to make a chair. Okay, so we can't jump out of here. So there's a couple things that we can do. We could build wooden platforms. Wooden platforms can be a good thing to have just as you're exploring. So let's do that. So we need some timber. We got plenty of plant fiber. If you look at timber, timber takes logs. Each log makes 5 timber. We're going to need a bunch of timber here. So we need 40, 50, 62. So let's make 100 timber. Alright, so now we can make wooden platforms. We can make 10 of those per timber. So let's make ourselves some wooden platforms. Now we have plenty of those as well. Now what's interesting about wooden platforms, we'll throw them up here, is I can now place myself something I can jump up on, right? So if I get stuck down low, that's a good way to be able to get myself out. And I can just leave it there. Again, depending on how much you would want to keep your resources, I could have cleaned out that torch and wooden platform. One thing I think that is useful is if you leave that stuff around in the world, you kind of know you've been there before, right? You know that, like, oh look, I've placed this stuff here, so I've obviously been here. Alright, again, we're kind of surface mining here, so we'll grab the stuff that's convenient. Our goal is to not get too terribly deep. Grab this coal here. You may have noticed as we have been crafting some of this stuff down in the notification area here, it will pop up some things in green. What those represent are new recipes that you've learned, so that allows you to create new items. So as you collect different resources or build different things, you'll get those new recipes. I don't like these guys. Alright, one more hit. I think we got him. Alright, so we are mostly looking for plants. Remember that if we harvest the fruit, we get the food, but if we harvest the actual stock, then we get the seeds. And the seeds are what we're really after. While the immediate food is nice to have, it's the seeds that allow us to maintain. Now what I'm doing is an overly cautious style of play, right? You can get through this whole starter world, never plant any food, and most likely be just fine. Once you start to get money, you can actually buy food. Once you get your ship, you can plant stuff on your ship if you want to. There's lots of different strategies, so your stuff will vary. This has been a good little biome for tomatoes. Alright, so this is dangerous. We're going to look down here, and we'll notice that there's nothing in the bottom. Sometimes you'll find chests down there. and going down in that water though would most likely get us. So here you'll notice that I collected something new, so it gave me some new recipes. Alright, let's grab some more plants. So here's an area where we should be able to use the terrain to our advantage. He ran away. I was going to try to just trap him in there, but... That's what, sugar cane? Yep, sugar cane. Now in the last live stream we were lucky enough to find a mushroom biome. I haven't seen one here. Okay, this is fortunate. So we've got a little kind of random house that's been built here. Number of things you can do here. The beds are nice. I have to look this up to be sure, but I'm 99% sure that when you're sleeping in the bed, your hunger doesn't go down. So this can be convenient to have if you wanted to go get a snack. Thank you, Whittister. It's good to have my biggest fan. And then my memory also serves. So what do we got here? Like we're one little sliver away from 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. We're going to open up our inventory here. Only 99%, yeah. I'll look it up when I do the actual guide. But from my memory now, I can also rest in a tent, right? We picked up that tent before. But you'll notice that I don't have the resting icon here. And if I remember from previous playthroughs, I think your hunger still goes down. So this can be a good way to gain some health. Yeah, that's my goal. My goal is to actually do a full video with the research and graphics. So yeah, if you just notice there, if you look at my health bar or my food bar now, there was a big sliver of yellow there, and that's kind of gone down. So the tent is nice. It allows us to heal up and not actually use any of our consumable healing, but you're still going to have to deal with your hunger. You grab this bed, which you wouldn't be able to make until later on in the game. You can actually carry that around with you if you want to, and anytime you need to rest, just drop the bed down. So you'll notice that I've got both the resting icons and the little health icons popping up. So that's kind of a nice find. And that's kind of I think one of the more interesting things about a game like this is if you go back to our first live stream, I might link that up again if you didn't get the link before. We found a mushroom biome which was great for food, but we didn't find a little hut like this with a bed and doors and stuff like that in it. So you're the number one fan out of 30 subscribers. Alright, we gotta take care of this guy. Alright, so we're gonna grab this chair as well, and campfire. I think we could grab that egg if we really wanted to. Let's keep moving. Alright. More plants. Or more, what were those? Oh, cocoa seeds. Wow, this is a good world. We got a chest up here that we can... believe if you start to dig deep into the recipes with the cocoa seeds, you can eventually make chocolate. And chocolate actually gives you a really, really good amount of food. Okay, so what do we got here? A one-handed weapon. That is nice. We've got some iron ore. That's kind of nice. And a manipulator module upgrade, which you need quite a few of to upgrade. But if we look over here, at our toolbar over here, mine's probably a little bit different than yours. I've got some mods installed here, but if I go to my matter manipulator, you'll notice that it takes manipulator module upgrades to upgrade some of these powers. So Those are definitely good to find. Hold on, I gotta move the chat so I can see. There we go. Let's go back into Starbound here. We're running the stream a little early tonight because I have another obligation at 8 o'clock. Alright, so we're going to grab that chest as well. And we're going to do a little bit of weapon manipulation. So, this is a one-handed weapon as opposed to a two-handed weapon, which gives me an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is I can put something else in my other hand. The disadvantage is I don't have that secondary attack, right? So if I wanted to, like if I'm going underground, I can do something like this where now I have a flashlight and a weapon, so I can see what I'm hitting. I could also do something along the lines of putting my bandages in the second slot, so I could right click to heal and left click to attack. Again, axes and hammers have this wind up, right? So it's like you have to wind up and hit, so it's a different style of fighting. We'll try this a little bit and see if we like it. Grab some copper. Comes the test. We'll have to fight this guy. For these guys it's not so bad because they tend to hide. Those are pretty big hits. Yeah, not too bad. Stylistically, I don't like it as much. Just I like the rapid combat. So another thing you can do. So I do like this weapon. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the second slot. Put my flashlight there and go back to my original sword. But now I can switch back and forth, right? If I need the light but still want to be able to defend myself, I can. But mostly I'm going to use this one. Yeah, I like pistols. I like the ranged weapons. For your first dungeon you get into, I think it's way easier to do with ranged weapons. I hear things. Always scary when you hear something and don't see it. Alright. So getting hungry during combat is probably not the best thing. Alright, we're gonna eat one tomato. I'll eat 2 tomatoes. That from beeping at us. That was dangerous. So let's get our light out. This was convenient. The nice part about this was it let us cut through this entire area. Now if I wanted to, I could climb up. Again, our goal here is to harvest, so I missed. Line these guys up correctly, we can hit them both, and that's more effective. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and continue our path upwards because we do want to look at the surface. Now we could probably just look up here. See, there's like a tomato plant we would have missed. I think we might run a little bit longer tonight. So we started at about 7:15. I think we could run up to 8:15 to 8:30. Okay, since we killed those guys off, let's go ahead and prepare some stuff here. So, get out one of our campfires. And it's always, like I said, if you cook your food, you know, where this raw piece of poultry here would poison us, but it's only good for 10 food. If I cook it, it's worth 20. And our tomato is 2.5 food, here it's worth 10. So taking the time to actually cook the food definitely makes it far more valuable. Alright. Don't forget to pick up our fire. Head our way back up this. And get this guy to fall off of the... That wasn't what I wanted. We did get him to fall off the cliff. Alright, so up we go. We're just gonna skip that guy. Okay. Oh, let's go help this guy. Okay, so sometimes you'll run into guys out here in the wilderness. This planet's been pretty good as far as good random stuff. And he's actually a vendor, right? So now that it's safe, we can talk to him. And you notice that he can sell us stuff. So he has a helmet. This could actually give us some more protection. He sells us some food. That's not bad. We don't have enough money for the chest guard here. Flare is light, so we could buy some light. I don't know why we want a kitchen table. We can also sell items, right? So if we have things that, let's say we don't want to keep, so buy everything of value. Like these doors, I could sell the doors if I wanted to. I could sell my torches, so if I made a bunch of torches, I could sell those and get money as well. In order to kind of stay true to what this is about, though, we are going to not buy the armor and just go through with our starting stuff. Okay, so I'm guessing, I think we've made good enough progress that we should be getting pretty close to back to the start. So we're going to do a little bit of building. We made these platforms, so instead of digging our way up on this one, we use the platforms to get us to the top. Got to kind of judge which one's a better use of your time. Not collecting all the flowers and just kind of looking for seeds. Alright, this is the portal for later things in the game. Corn. Sleeping bag. So you'll notice the sleeping bag gives us the resting buff. So this is very similar to the bed in that not only am I healing right now, I'm not actually taking hunger. So a sleeping bag is almost like an upgraded tent. I find this one interesting in that I would probably think it should be the other way. A tent seems more protective and restful than a sleeping bag, but we're going to grab that sleeping bag. And I pick up these campfires for a couple of reasons. One, so I now have 3. When I've put one out to cook, I'll sometimes forget it and leave it. And if I do that, I have extras. And the nice part is they stack, right? It doesn't take up any more space to have 100 campfires or 1 campfire, so it doesn't hurt to have them. So while we're here, we'll go ahead and cook ourselves some food. I'll eat to make popcorn. And our hunger's getting pretty low, so time to eat. Seed, there we go, popcorn. popcorn, key ingredient, potato, and that should probably top us up. So now we have a full belly. So you'll see as we've been adventuring across the planet, we've been finding enough food to basically keep ourselves alive. So we're not too terribly worried about dying from hunger. Dying from monsters, on the other hand. A lot of this comes down to how cautious do you want to be. Are you the type of player who's just going to throw caution to the wind and rush through as fast as you can? That's fine. That's a strategy. Would you rather build a base of operations and always be able to have a safe place to collect your food and things like that? Also a legitimate way of playing. Can't quite make that jump. A couple of choices here. We could use our platform. We can also pop in here, and we've collected a bunch of wood or dirt, so we've got plenty of dirt. Alright. A little more plants. Alright, let's heal up a little bit. It's not an emergency, that slower heal I like to use because I can craft them. The bandage is good for an emergency, and that gives you health faster. Alright, more collecting. A lot of enemies in this area. Another tent, another campfire. I'll leave the tent, grab the campfire. More flowers. Lots of flowers. It's a very flowery planet. That could be dangerous. You got a lot of enemies down there. We're gonna skip it. So what I'm doing now can be dangerous in that you can get a whole bunch of enemies chasing you, and that can get you killed. Go ahead and heal up here a little bit. Finish these guys off because we are about to make it back to our starting. So we got a little bit lucky there. That was a healing item. So you notice these trees that are really close together here, right? These are the trees that we planted. It's not really a naturally occurring formation. So as we kind of come up here, we should see our starting S. Alright, so that was one loop. We did pretty well in that we found enough food to keep ourselves alive. We didn't have to go into our stash, and we collected some stuff here. So what we're going to do now is just kind of look and see where we beam down at. That way we can kind of judge what we want to build. Go back down. If I remember right, it was right on that cobblestone. Right here on the cobblestone. So this is kind of the area we're going to beam down in. A couple of strategies here. We could build ourselves a little house. But what we really want to do here is get our farming started. So we're going to do a couple of things. First thing I'm going to do is clear out this cobblestone. And then I'm going to put dirt in its place. We're going to build ourselves a small little structure. Now, if you're early on in the game, there's a couple strategies you can use here. Strategy 1 is to dig yourself out of structure. That way you're not using up any of your materials. Strategy 2 would be to actually build a structure. Alright, once we dig that out, we're going to fill it back in with dirt. And we're going to chop down our trees here. He's going to be a problem. Come on. We will do something here to kind of deal with this, because this little cave could keep spawning things for us. But we kind of want our farm to be a little bit safe. This is where guns are nice. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and grab our dirt, and we'll just seal that cave off. That way we don't have to deal with things spawning there. Alright, and then these are our trees that we planted. We're going to go ahead and chop them down for their wood. Alright, so we have a choice to make. We can build ourselves a nice wooden house, but that does use up our wood. We could build ourselves a dirt house, because dirt is cheap and plentiful. We could dig ourselves a house. The nice part about that is we could actually dig it underneath our farm and not use up space in our farm. So you have some options here. I was just reading on the Starbound community site. I believe in one of the next major patches, they're adding the ability to replace blocks. So if early on you built a house out of dirt and you wanted to turn it into a stone house or a wooden house, you could replace the dirt blocks with wood and update what it looks like. So that seems like a really cool little feature. Okay, so we kind of work our way in here. Let's clean out this mud. And we'll build our house kind of right here. This is definitely a wet planet. It's kind of lucky in that it'll help your crops grow. Alright, now we're going to fill this back in with some dirt. And we'll build ourselves a small little house here. So for right now, actually we should be able to build our house out of timber. Let's do that. Alright, so I'm going to hold the shift key down, and we'll just put ourselves a small little house right. Now we did steal those doors, so we can make our house kind of nice. A door is 3 blocks tall, which is the same height as your character. Different people build houses of different sizes. You can theoretically just build it 3 tall. I like to have a little bit of space, right? So let's go ahead and clean out some dirt, because if we're going to build a nice house, we don't want it to have a dirt floor. You will find that if you like to build, upgrading your tools is definitely a big deal. It makes your life a whole lot easier in removing these blocks. Alright, let's grab some more timber. And we'll put ourselves in a nice wooden floor there. Now we're going to go here and get our stolen doors. Now if you don't have doors, not a big deal. Make these quite big enough. Okay, that one is good. It just adds kind of an aesthetic. So now I've got these doors that I can open and close. Alright, so you notice it's not raining on me. That's kind of nice. But we do want our house to look a little bit nice, so we are going to come back into blocks, go back into our timber, and if I right click, I can fill the background in. And this just makes it look a little more complete. So we'll do that. Now we have a choice to make. We could put in windows if we want. By that I mean just cut holes in the background. So let's do that. Doesn't really impact hardly anything. Let's put in a window there. There. Oh, that's wonderful. Now what we're going to do is come over here and some torches in. There we go. You notice that the context of the torch changes, right? If I stick it on a wall, it changes. If I stick it in here, it changes. Put them on the outside too. Light outside. Okay, so the main point of this first run through was to try to get ourselves a farm going, and so that's what we're going to do. So in order to plant all these seeds that we've collected, we need to actually create a hoe. For a hoe, we need a foraging table, and you have to get to that. So one of the things that's interesting about the crafting system in Starbound is how you have to work your way through things. So I can't create a hoe right now, but what I can do is create this inventor's table. It takes 4 wooden logs and 12 timber. So we're going to start there. I'm going to craft that. It's going to plop it into my inventory. And now I have an inventor's table. Alright, so we'll go ahead and stick that right in the middle of our house. Now if I open this up by pressing E, you'll now notice I have a whole new set of crafting items that I can create. So in order to create a hoe, I need 25 timber, 4 copper bars, and 1 string. And it's actually built at the foraging table. So I'm going to build myself a foraging table here. Foraging table takes 10 timber and 4 wooden logs. So we'll craft that. Remember, don't close this before it's done or it won't complete. So now I have this. And hopefully I made my house big enough. So there it is. There's my hoe. Right? So I've got plenty of timber, but I don't have copper bar and I don't have string. You'll notice that I can't make those in here as well, so let's keep looking. Most of the stuff comes down to logic, in that if you think about it, do I have copper ore? Right? So if I look here, I have 15 copper ore, so what would I use to actually make copper bars? Well, this furnace seems logical. So the furnace takes cobblestone, mud, and a campfire, all of which I have, so we'll craft that. Alright, so that gives us our furnace, and we'll plop it into our little house. Furnace should also give us some light, if I remember right. Okay, so we'll come back here. What's our hoe need? We need timber, we need copper bars, we need string. Alright, so going back here, what would be a logical thing to make string? Probably this spinning wheel. So I have timber, I have cobblestone, but I'm missing rope. Thankfully the rope can be crafted in your just general crafting by pressing C. So I'm going to craft myself a rope. Now I'll come back in here, my spinning wheel is available. So I craft it. Now it's not that I needed a lot of these things directly to craft my hoe, but I need them indirectly. So if I find copper bars and I find string, I could have crafted this hoe if I got lucky. So I need 4 copper bars, so let's start there. So there's my copper bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each copper bar needs 2 ore to create, so we have enough of that. We're going to close that. We'll come over here. We need string. String just takes plant fiber. So we will craft that. And then we come back here, and now you'll notice that our hoe is lit up. So now we can craft that. Now we're on a very wet planet here, it looks like. But in order to be complete here, we probably want a watering can as well. So that takes a copper bar. So we'll come back here, craft another copper bar. Now you can go ahead if you want to and just use up all your ore. It's kind of up to you. And now we can make a wooden watering can. Alright, so what has this given us? Given us the ability to plant seeds. So if we look in here, I've got these cotton seeds, right? If you look, when I try to put them on the ground here, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's surrounded by red. Let's do this. Alright. So if I try to put my cotton seed down, you'll notice that it glows red. That's because I can't plant on this untilled land. I'm going to go ahead and change my toolbar up here. I'm going to put my weapon here. Put our flashlight combo here. And then we're going to take our hoe, put it here. So now what I can do is I can till this land. I'm just holding down the left button. And you'll notice that the graphic is changing, right? I'm actually creating tilled or fertile land. And you can individually click, I guess, if you want to, but I'm just holding down left. So plants need a couple things to grow. They need water and light. So we need to put this up on the surface. And we'll go ahead and till this all the way up to our house. We probably won't plant there. Alright, I'm going to change my zoom just because I don't like playing that close. We'll go medium here for this little project. Okay, so I've accomplished that. Now what do I need to do? Well, if I go back now and find my seeds, wheat seed, rice seed. So let's plant some rice. I'm going to come all the way over here and start over here. Now you will notice, put it out here, that it glows white when we put it down. Clean up our background here a little bit. I don't like that. Bugs me to have these blocks sticking up in the air. Doesn't look natural. Found some iron ore there. Okay. So now we're going to take our rice seeds. And you notice that, see how they turn blue? It's easier to see in the light. That means I'm allowed to plant it there, right? So I can plant rice. See, what else do we have? We have wheat, potato. Plant our potato. Get some corn. Corn. Food. Sugar cane. Plant our sugar cane. Notice if you get them too close, they won't plant. Yes, you have to space them out. Cocoa pods. Cocoa seeds. Lots of cocoa. So what we've now done is we've created ourselves essentially a renewable food source, right? We can visit here. We can grab what we need. Some tomatoes. And we've essentially just got ourselves a garden. Wheat's a cooking ingredient. And we might as well plant our wheat, we have it. Okay. See what we got. Cooking ingredient. Later on you would need cotton. We're not going to plant our cotton. Okay, so last step here is, did we make our watering can? Go ahead and put that up here. Now we're going to come along here. Again, I'm just going to hold down the left mouse button and you'll notice that the dirt changes a different color, right? So what this allows me to do is water my ground. Now if it rains, the rain will do the same thing. So depending on how wet of a planet you end up with to start, you can get this taken care of for you. And as the plants mature, they will suck the water out of the dirt. So you have to come back and rewater it. Alright, I think we're good. So, now that I have this furnace, I can come here. I thought you could cook on the furnace. I might be wrong. Alright, let's take care of our food issues here. Oh, what a great place for a campfire. Alright, so again, we're going to cook our food just so we get the most out of it. Because cooked food is more nutritious than uncooked. Alright. So if I keep track of my numbers, I could actually try to get this to the point where I exactly fill up my health. We are going to go all the way here just to show the... oh, we should plant those as well. Yes, those. Because if we keep eating... There we go. You'll notice now my health is going up, which is kind of nice. Let's plant our pearl peas here as well. And we will water it. Alright, so what have we created now? We have created ourselves a nice farm that will allow us to basically have an infinite supply of food, right? I can just keep coming back here and continuing to harvest this food. I'm going to change my zoom back out. So these are all the plants essentially that we collected through our first journey through here. The last thing I would probably do here is, just to make it a little bit aesthetic, I'm going to grab my... If I can do this. Nope, I don't want it there. Put ourselves a little platform there, and let's see if that gives me enough room to put down my chests that I found. Not quite. I didn't know if I'd pull that off. Alright, well, we can just put it on there. So this is also something I talked about in the last live stream, is I now have this little base of operations. Now obviously this is a starter planet, so you might not need to go quite this far on a starter planet, but what I could do here is I could say, okay, what do I need if I die, right? So I could put some food in here, I could come in here and put some healing components in. I don't really need to carry my hoe and watering can with me all the time, so I could just leave those here to clean out my inventory. But I could actually use this so that if I died on this planet, when I come zooming back down, so let's pop back up here. Alright, so I'd say I just died on the planet and I've lost all of my inventory, right? So now I say, oh, okay, I come back down. It's like, I gotta get back down into this dungeon. Well, I can run over here, check my chest, and grab some healing supplies, maybe some torches, although I don't think you lose your torches. But anything I would need to actually continue. Okay, so if we notice here, see how this plant has gotten bigger, and my ground has gotten not wet anymore. So that's part of farming. Each plant has a different amount of time that it takes to grow, and you can't harvest them. Oh, that's bad. I clicked outside of the window and it went away. Hold on, I hope we don't die. Oh, he ran away. That's good. Alright, let's go kill this guy over here. Something else I could do, just to kind of give myself some protection, is I could just build myself a little wall here. There we go. That way I don't get attacked by things. My farm is safe. So we need to go back in here, grab our watering can. And we'll just come back here and rewater our plants. This is something to pay attention to. You know, different plants grow at different speeds. Obviously, a lot of times the faster that it grows, the more food, or the less food it's going to give, and the slower it grows, the less food it's going to give, or vice versa. All right, I believe we have accomplished what we were trying to do. So in this playthrough, we started a new character. We blew through the starting world pretty quick, the tutorial. We got ourselves down to a planet, and we've kind of set ourselves up to be self-sufficient. At this point, we don't really have to worry too much about food. I don't have to worry too much about anything. I've got a good start. I've got some of my crafting stuff. The nice part about this crafting stuff is, let's say you were going to abandon this world, you can pick it back up, right? I can use my matter manipulator, pick up that furnace, and take it with me. So what a lot of people will do is take it up to their ship and actually put a lot of the stuff on the ship so they can actually craft from there. We'll put it back there. But this gets me kind of just a base of operations. The nice part is if it's a planet, let's say you're adventuring on, so like the second or third world that you hit, if you set something up like this and you're running missions, you know, for the NPCs and stuff, every time you come by, you check your plants, water your plants, and then you can harvest your food when it becomes available. And you kind of have an endless supply of food. You can see, just in the time we've been chatting here, these have grown. I'd have to look at it. I think there are 3 to 4 stages of growth to full maturity. Once these grow, though, they will be the exact same as when we found them in the wild, right? They will actually be, I can harvest the food off of them, then I can harvest the seeds and all that kind of stuff. So I do plan on doing a whole video on food production and farming, so I'll give a lot more details in that as that becomes available. The last thing we should probably do, I didn't really leave myself room. We probably should have left ourselves room for a nice bed. We'll just sleep outside. Again, a nice way to actually gain health. Let's make one more modification to our house. So I'm going to come up here. There, we'll pretend it's a porch. And we'll sleep on the porch. There we go. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Again, Starbound is a fun exploration-based game. Plan on doing a whole lot of digging into the mechanics style coverage of Starbound. If there's any strategies that you use in order to get your Starbound character started, love to hear about them. Just go ahead and dump them down in the comments. Like, hey, I do this or I do that. My list of things that I would go to next, now that I've got this going, I would probably start to look for things like wearable light. There's a lantern on a stick that you can get as one of your early lights that you need iron and some other things, some oil and things to get. Sometimes you can get lucky and find some of that stuff as well. I think I have found a lantern on a stick as a chest or a loot. In this playthrough, the next thing I would do, now that I've established my base of operations, is, and we got pretty lucky here. If you remember when we first started, that dungeon was just over here to the right. Tons and tons of crates in there, right? So I would start exploring there, because crates are where you're going to get a lot of your weapon drops and different things like that. So that can be great. But yeah, you can see our farm just kind of chugging along there. Unfortunately, it's meteor showering right now. It's not actually raining. If it was raining, we'd be able to see that it would actually replenish the dirt for us, which means you don't have to actually water it manually, because that can get a little bit tedious, having to come back here and always water it. If you get way farther into the game and you really want to take advantage of something like this, there are sprinklers that you can put down that auto water your dirt and things like that, and you can actually get the get it down to a very, very efficient thing. The meteor shower? No, I don't think the meteor shower has any impact. Not this one anyway. On some of the harder worlds, I believe there are some meteors that will do damage to the terrain and things like that. But on this starter world, no, you're actually pretty safe. All right, thanks for joining us. Look for Starbound content to come soon. It's kind of my next series that I really want to get started, is to start to build out the Starbound content. So thanks for joining us. As always, your support is always welcome. If you like what you see, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, as they all say. Or just tell your friends about us. If you don't want to subscribe, you just want to keep watching, that's fine. But if you can help spread the word, we do always appreciate that. Nice hashtag. Thanks for watching, Whittister. As always, it's always good to have you in the channel. One of our biggest supporters. Maybe we'll do a collab video together one of these days. Play some Starbound together or something like that. All right. Well, thank you. We're gonna call it an end of a stream here. We'll probably jump up onto the Discord server for a little bit. If you're interested in joining our after party chat, you can jump up there. But like I said, I have some previous engagements that I have to get to, so I might not be there very long. All right, everybody have a good night, and we will see you next time.